Hey everyone! Today we are going to review how to multiply decimal numbers. We're going to use the example 1 and 5/10 times 5/10. Just like with addition, I'm going to have you flip your page, rewrite the problem as a stacked problem, and use the columns to help you keep your place values lined up. So let's write it out. We don't need to give the decimal point its very own column with this because we don't actually need to keep the decimal point lined up. So I'm actually going to write the decimal point on one of the lines in my page. So let's write it out. 1 and 5/10 times 0 and 5/10. Now, just like with addition, multiplying with decimal numbers is very similar to whole number multiplication with multiple digits. We just have to do something special with the decimal point. When we multiply, we want to ignore the decimal point at the beginning and just multiply as though we were multiplying 15 times 5. And then we'll add the decimal point in later. We'll get started in the bottom right-hand corner, multiplying the ones place by the ones place, just like we would with multi-digit multiplication. 5 times 5 is 25. We'll put the ones place of that here and regroup the tens place with the tens place for 25. Next, we're going to multiply the ones place on the bottom by the tens place up top, because remember, we're pretending this decimal point doesn't exist. 5 times 1 is 5, plus 2 is 7, and I like to cross off my carries so that I don't accidentally use them again. We're going to move down because we have two numbers, two digits, in our lower factor for this problem to a second line, make a place marker, and move on over to the tens place times the ones place. 0 times 5 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. And then we're going to add up our partial products. 5 plus our place marker, which is nothing, is 5. 7 plus 0 is 7, and we'll bring down the 0. Now we're going to do something special. I'm realizing this is a little crowded with my original problem, so I'm going to block it out. Something special with the decimal point. I'm going to count how many decimal place values there are in my factors, and I'm going to make sure I have the same number of decimal places in my product. Let's count. 1, 2. All right. So I'm going to start with my decimal point at the far right and count 1, 2 places to the left, and that's where my decimal point is going to go. I'll show you again. 1, 2, 1, 2. And so our answer is 0 and 75 hundredths. Not done yet though. Just like with addition, we need to make sure that we check our work. We are going to use the inverse or opposite operation. And with multiplication, that opposite operation is division. So if we multiply to find our answer, we can use division to check. Our factors in the problem we're checking were 1 and 5/10 times 5/10. And our product that we're trying to prove is 75 hundredths. We can check with division. So we should be able to divide 75 hundredths by either of these two factors and get the other factor. I'm going to choose to divide by 5/10 because I can make that into a single digit division problem, and that will be easier. Here we go. We'll set it up. 75 hundredths divided by 5/10. And just like with multiplication, division with decimals is very similar to regular long division, but we do have to do something special with the decimal points. We can't have a decimal in our divisor, remember? So I'm going to move that one place to the right so that I have a whole number. I need to do the same with my dividend. One place, and then I can bring it up onto my answer line. Now we're going to pretend like I'm just dividing 5 into 7 and 5/10. 5 goes, I'm going to skip the 0 because this would just be a 0 here. 5 goes into 7 one time. 5 times 1 is 5. And if you like, you can write the Dracula's mother sucks blood. Kind of gruesome, but that's our little mnemonic device that helps us remember the order of steps. 5 goes into 7 one time. 5 times 1 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. Subtract. Bring down the 5. And 5 goes into 25 5 times. So my quotient, my answer here is 1 5/10, which is one of my factors. And that means that my product was correct and I have successfully checked my work.
Can you make